presented by the Strong Blue Line Foundation and powered by Moose Ridge Coffee in Snake River Landing, Idaho Falls. Welcome to the podcast, where former San Antonio police officer, author, and pastor Tim Rupp walks you through real-life scenarios involving our police officers and digs into the depths of facts and opinions on each case. This is Cop Talk, and it starts now.
Hello and welcome to the Strong Blue Line's Cop Talk. I'm Tim Rupp in the Rev.FM studio in beautiful Idaho Falls. Here with me in studio is station manager Gary Austin. Hello, Gary.
Hey, Tim Rupp.
Speaking of Austin, you know, my son went to Austin.
Really?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
I went on
I'll
business.
be done. So that's cool.
You probably have family there?
No.
No?
Colorado.
Colorado. Oh.
Opposite.
Gary, Colorado. No, it's Gary Austin.
That's Gary, Indiana.
Oh, that's... Got me. There you go, Gary, Indiana. Oh, I thought it was Indiana Jones.
Oh, goodness.
Stop it. We got a show to do here.
We
Gary.
do. Let's try to
let's focus on the show. Here. It's kind of interesting. Assassins is the name of the show, or if we were to give it a name. Assassins, you know, that's what we're going to be talking about. So, let's get to it. But before we do that, let's honor officers who were killed in the line of duty on this date in history. And so I've got policeman Edward Bond. I wonder if he's any kin to the Bond.
Huh.
Edward Bond, not James.
Yeah.
September 4th, 1864, policeman Edward Bond and another officer were patrolling the this is Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
Louisville, Kentucky. So, policeman Bond and another officer were patrolling the upper part of the city in the First Ward on September 3rd, 1864.
Ooh.
The two officers were ambushed by two men who held a grudge against policeman Bond. Bond was struck in the leg and by a load of buckshot. He was carried to his home where his leg was amputated. He died there the following evening. So you think about it, I mean, this is a buckshot in the leg. Generally today, that probably would most likely not be life-threatening.
Yeah.
You know, unless it hit the artery or something.
Right.
But, you know, they amputated his leg. This is in the middle of Civil War time. Both men were arrested and charged with his murder. One of them fled into the South after being released on bond and does not know if he was ever captured following the Civil War. So that's kind of a... fled to the South. Actually, you know, you fled to the South, he fled to a different country.
Right.
At the time, if you will, separated, you know.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah, it was a lot different then.
Yes. What do you have, Gary?
This is Governmental Affairs Liaison Michael Elaine Griffin, Mississippi Department of Public Safety, end of watch, September 4th, 2023. So, Governmental Affairs Liaison Mike Griffin came upon a vehicle crash involving a partially overturned vehicle. And as he was checking on the entrapped driver, the vehicle shifted and fell on top of Griffin, causing him to suffer fatal injuries.
Wow.
Man.
Kind of an unusual freak accident.
Very scary. I mean, you just don't ever know as an officer, you know, you're
and he was
danger.
And he was in plain clothes this time. His job description was that. And so he was in plain clothes and just driving to a late, but typical policeman, got to stop and check out the accident, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And to help people render aid or whatever it could be.
So that's what a liaison is like.
Liaison officer. He's a liaison.
That's funny. I pronounced it liaison.
Liaison. That's a liaison officer. Yeah. So he's a liaison officer, and so he kind of like works security with the state agencies and so forth.
Okay.
A lot of retired state troopers do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he was with the Mississippi Highway Patrol for 34 years.
So he'd retire. So he was an older gentleman. He wasn't young.
62.
62 years old.
I'll be darned.
Yeah. That's tragic. Anyway, so that September 4th, 2023, just a year ago.
Yeah.
Wow, you finish your retirement and you think, okay, I'm going to get this nice cushy retirement job. and do this gig. And man. Anyways, before we get into our talk about the assassins and so forth, formerly aired Cop Talk can be found on Amazon, YouTube, Apple, and Spotify platforms. So please, listening live, obviously you can catch us on the radio or live streaming. All right, so hey, this caught my attention. This comes from Law Enforcement Today out of their news part, and it's the FBI stopped an Iran-linked assassination plot on U.S. soil. But first, this is kind of unusual, Gary. I'm going to start reading this. In April, so this past April, Asif Merchant was allowed by the FBI to enter the U.S. with special permission called, and it's quotations here, significant public benefit parole. That sounds awful suspicious. Significant public benefit parole. This, despite the fact that he recently traveled to Iran and been added to the flagged to a terrorism watch list. So this guy's on the terrorism watch, yet he's allowed to enter the United States. Okay. Merchant was arrested in July after he allegedly told an FBI confidential source that he had opportunity for him. So what happened, Gary, is this guy Merchant contacted somebody and said, "Hey, I've got something for you to do, and I want you to do these bad things." Well, this confidential source contacted the FBI and said, "Hey, this guy's up to no good. You need to keep an eye on him." According to a press release from the DOJ, making a finger gun motion with his fingers. In other words, he kind of like the air gun. Yeah. Like, hey, I got something for you to do. Kind of one of them type deals. And he said he wanted to orchestrate the killing of somebody here in the United States. In June, Merchant met with the hitmen who were in reality undercover law enforcement officers in New York and requested 3 services. This is what I found very frightening, if you will, Gary. This Iranian citizen, he said he wanted to hire somebody for 3 services: theft of documents, arranging protest at political rallies, and for them to kill a political person. So he's trying to...
Interesting.
Yes. He claimed that he had spoken with an unidentified party back home in Pakistan and was instructed to finalize their plans to kill the person in either late August or early September. So somebody from Pakistan, remember that's where Osama bin Laden was arrested at, in Pakistan, and he was assassinated at, Osama bin Laden. Merchant paid an undercover officer $5,000. So this guy's messing around. He's got cash to deal with. You got this guy comes in, he got $5,000 U.S. cash, paid him in advance, and the undercover operative allegedly asked if he was definitely moving forward it. Merchant responded, yes, absolutely. Merchant later made arrangements to leave the U.S., but he was intercepted before he could make his flight. He told authorities that he has a wife and children in Iran, as well as a wife and children in Pakistan.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he's got 2 families in 2 different countries, and he's here in the United States. I wonder if he's got a wife and children here.
Yeah.
Fox News' Bill McLugan wrote in a post on X that Merchant's briefcase had a handwritten note with code words that had been invented to masquerade discussions about the assassination plot with undercover agents. His travel records indicate that he frequently travels to Iran, Syria, and Iraq. So this guy gets around.
Sure does.
The DOJ wrote, quote, Merchant instructed CS, that is the confidential source, to arrange meetings with individuals who Merchant could hire to carry out these actions. Merchant explained that his plot involved multiple criminal schemes. Again, number 1, stealing documents or USB drives from the target's home. So whoever this political person was he was targeting, they wanted to get into his home.
Yeah. I know who that is.
Planning protest at political rallies. Are we getting closer to maybe we know who this is?
Yeah.
And killing a politician or government official. So this is getting pretty close to home. Attorney General Garland said in a statement about the complaint, quote, this is from Garland, "For years, the Justice Department has been working aggressively to counter Iran's brazen and unrelenting efforts to retaliate against American public officials for the killing of Iranian General Soleimani." He continued, "The Justice Department will spare no resource to disrupt and hold accountable those who would seek to carry out Iran's lethal plotting against American citizens and will not tolerate attempts by an authoritarian regime to target American public officials and endanger America's national security." This tells us, Gary, that Iran is moving forward as much as they can to try to disrupt what's going on in our country.
Yeah, exactly.
They're trying to interfere. You think they're talking about interfering with the the elections coming up. I mean, this is killing people. This is planning rallies. The Iranian government hiring people to protest at our political rallies. So when you see people protesting at rallies, just think they are very likely actors that are being hired.
That's right.
To do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's something that's not very good at all. The FBI is investigating the case, working with Assistant U.S. Attorneys Sandra Winnick, Gilbert Rain, and Douglas Privado of the Eastern District of New York, and trial attorneys, etc. FBI Director Christopher Wray told reporters, quote, this is from Christopher Wray, "The dangerous murder-for-hire plot exposed in today's complaint allegedly was orchestrated by a Pakistani national with close ties to Iran and is straight out of the Iranian playbook. Foreign-directed plot to kill a public official or any U.S. citizen is a threat to our national security and will be met with the full might and resources of the FBI." So the FBI has their hands full. This guy came over legally. I mean, he came over, through airplanes and stuff. He was granted permission to come over. Imagine the numbers have come over through the southern border.
Man.
And I think the ones that are coming over through legal means, if you will, through a passport and stuff, these guys are the officials that's heading the thing up.
Right.
These are the managers. These are the money providers. These are stuff. But the ones that are coming through illegally through the border, I think them are the worker bees. Those are the ones that are carrying out these or plan to carry out any attacks or whatever against U.S. citizens or this kind of stuff. We need to really be aware of what's going on. This is kind of frightening what's going on.
It is, and I think too it's interesting that they would talk or give any information. I mean, like you said, they're the worker bees, so everything is provided for them.
Yes,
they really have nothing to lose necessarily, but interesting that they give all this information.
Yeah,
but he was on the no-flies list, or the terrorist watch list. So,
and they said they let him in. And on one hand, you say you let him in, okay, but it was a confidential informant that led him to it. It's not like they let him in and kept an eye on him and watched him the whole time.
Exactly.
They let him in and he went wherever. And fortunately, somebody saw something and they said something.
Yeah.
They went to the FBI. This guy, I don't know what the relationship of the confidential informant, whomever that may be, to the guy that's doing this. Did they just meet him in a bar somewhere and he's talking?
That's true.
And, or was it somebody that he knows? Was it somebody at maybe a religious site like a mosque or something?
Could have been.
And, it could have been a good U.S. citizen that's maybe a Muslim or something, and they're like, oh, this guy's planning something.
Yeah.
It could have been, who knows but good thing they said something to the FBI. The FBI took it serious. They followed up with it because they get so many things. And it's not, you have so much manpower and resources, but good for them. They followed up with this and they got him arrested and everything.
Yes.
And I mean, this guy is on U.S. soil plotting to kill political people or government officials. He should not just be let loose
No.
and gone home. I mean, he needs to remain in prison for many, many years, where he doesn't have children anymore in Iran. He's got grandchildren.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I hope something goes on. But that, and that caught my eye because all this took place. This guy was let in April. We had an assassination attempt on President Trump in July. And so he was let in April, and he said he was arrested in July. I mean, all this is coming together, so it kind of makes you wonder about, and we hope that the full information about the guy who tried, I don't even know his name, the guy who tried to assassinate President Trump, hope the whole full story comes out.
Yeah, I do too.
Was this guy just a lone wolf? Did he just, get on the internet and decide he's going to do this on his own?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of hoping that's the case, or was he influenced by some of this political speech from a foreign country,
right?
Or was he actually hired by somebody like this?
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm going to come over and if I wanted to get somebody assassinated, I mean, you could do it a couple of ways. You could really try to get the professional hitman, but you got to know who that is. You have to have connections.
Yes.
And they're not going to just do $5,000. Yeah, sure.
Exactly.
They're not going to do this. Or you can go, hey, I'm going to get as many guys as I can. If I can get 20 or 30 guys that say they're going to do this, and out of 20 or 30 guys, you just get 2 or 3 of them to actually try to carry it through, what are the odds, you may be doing? And if nothing happens, at least you're stirring up fear.
Mm-hmm.
So...
yeah, that's true.
And then we saw this, Gary. This comes from earlier last month, but this was not long after. This was just 3 weeks after the story came out. Just 3 weeks after the assassination attempt on President Trump. But this says, man facing Mar-a-Lago trespassing charge makes shocking claim on Trump assassination attempt. This is out of Palm Beach, Florida, and this comes from law enforcement today. A man facing a criminal charge for allegedly trespassing on former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida says a foreign power was behind the attempt on his life last month. So this guy is claiming, whoever this is will read about it, that a foreign power, we were just talking about that.
Yep.
How do you pronounce that name, Gary?
I don't even know.
His last name's Lee, I guess. Lee or Lai? L-I. How do you pronounce that? Lai or Lee?
I think.
Lee, I think I'm going to go with Lee. Lee is accused of repeatedly trying to access Trump's Palm Beach resort in the criminal case, according to Florida's WPTV. According to the court documents, Lee was stopped by the Secret Service personnel at the gate on the evening of July 19th. Gary, that was 6 days after the assassination attempt.
Oh, yeah.
So President Trump was shot. He was shot in the head on July 13th. July 19th, this guy's got arrested during his interaction with federal agents. Lee claimed that the government of China, not Iran, the government of China was involved in an attempted assassination attempt on Trump a week prior. The resident of California, so he's a California resident, sought to leave documents with the Secret Service, and the offer was rejected. Now, he sought to leave something with them. It was rejected. You got to realize, what are they doing? There's a lot of crazy knuckleheads that are just out there, and I mean, so many. Lee was later issued a trespassing warning from the Palm Beach Police Department. However, this wasn't the last time the suspect would attempt to access Trump's oceanside property. So apparently he was trying to get in there and let him know, hey, this is what's going on. It's the Chinese that's trying to do this. Mm-hmm. Lee made another appearance late Tuesday afternoon, blocking a traffic lane at the property. The suspect was warned about his alleged breaches of trespassing warning and released from the scene. The alleged trespasser proceeded to try to access the area of Mar-a-Lago 2 more times on Wednesday, the first of which officers rebuffed Lee yet again for trying to enter the south gate of the premises. Police issued a be on the lookout warning regarding Lee after that incident. This guy is bound and determined to get an audience with President Trump. After a 4th incident in which Lee was found on an intersection near the Mar-a-Lago property, the alleged trespasser was arrested. He's facing a single criminal court count of trespassing. A judge ordered him to be held at the Palm Beach County Jail on a $10,000 bond. Lee would later be identified as a Chinese citizen. So he's a resident of California, but he's a Chinese citizen, according to KTTV. The defendant has been issued a no-contact order regarding Trump or anyone affiliated with his presidential campaign. So you think that no-contact order is... He was told in person 3 times, stay away from him.
Exactly.
And now you got an order. I don't think this is going to help. The specifics of the documents he alleged sought to present to the Secret Service aren't completely clear. Lee's next court appearances. So, I want to read this. I wanted to highlight the Secret Service they're busy with a lot of this.
Right.
I mean, a lot of crazy people all the time coming up, and you've got to sift through this. Mm-hmm. The problem is some of these people are just crazy enough to do something, or they're serious enough to take some kind of action. So apparently he was just trying to be helpful. Right. But that's not the way to be helpful. You're from California. That's not next door to Florida, is it?
No.
No, it's not. It's not next door.
No.
You go all the way to Florida to try to let President Trump know. If you're in California, just go to your local Secret Service in California and give them the information you have.
Yeah.
They have contact with other
that's
people.
Right.
So
yeah, that's exactly right.
Anyways, I thought that was pretty interesting.
Very interesting.
And we are winding down on time, Gary. But that was interesting stuff.
Very. I like it.
Thanks for listening in. If you have a topic or question you want addressed on Cop Talk, send me an email. You can email suggestions, questions, comments, or complaints to coptalk@therev.fm. That's coptalk@therev.fm. Thought from the good book today: whoever guards his mouth preserves his life. He who opens wide his lips comes to ruin. Thank you for joining us and help us to make the thin blue line a strong blue line.
Cop Talk is presented by the Strong Blue Line Foundation and sponsored by Moose Ridge Coffee in Snake River Landing, Idaho Falls. Questions and comments are always welcome by email to coptalk@therev.fm. Listen, follow, leave a review, and share this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or YouTube. And visit thestrongblueline.org to learn how you can be a supporter. Cop Talk is a Rev FM production, produced and edited by Gary Austin. Thank you for joining us on Cop Talk.